Ugh, something stinks in here. Wafting. Either I stepped on something on my way into the studio, or Trump is talking again. Maybe you should hold your nose.
No! Stop thinking for yourself again!
This is The Late Night Shot. I'm Scott Black. This is a book, and you're either watching this when you should be sleeping or when you're at work with your hand hovered over the Alt tab so that you can quickly go back to that spreadsheet that you've been working on for the last 3 hours. I'm sorry, Mac users, do you feel left out? I mean, hovering over the Command tab so that you can unexpectedly crash your system with no warning for no reason. Feel better? That's good, because we've got news that we've got to get to. The world has more or less moved on from the tragic shootings last week in Las Vegas, which is a disheartening thing and a telling fact that just shows how desensitized we have come to these heinous events. The thing that really kind of bothers me about it is how people reacted to the chance to have a real discussion about gun culture and gun control. While some wanted to talk about it, others didn't think it was the right time and will get to it later, while others just buried their heads in the sand while taking their guns apart and putting them back together real fast before their nose starts to bleed. That's right, that's a Major Payne reference. A reference from a rubbish Damon Wayans comedy film from 1995. I know what the kids are into. Even some of the comments on my own videos said, "From my cold dead hands." That of course being from legendary actor Charlton Heston's pro-NRA speech. Funny though that I never quote some of his other hits like, "I'm pissed off when Indians say they're Native Americans. I'm a Native American, for Christ's sakes. The internet is for lonely people, political correctness is tyranny with manners, or affirmative action is a stain on American soil." I guess they're just not that good on a t-shirt. While many argue about what the Second Amendment actually means, many pointed out that this was something written by men that had no idea of the firepower we would be able to be capable of when at the time it was written a single-shot musket was the height of gun tech. Which of course led people to posting this gem: "Dear media, your First Amendment freedom of the press is limited to wooden hand-cranked presses because the Founding Fathers did not know about high-speed digital computers. That's how stupid you sound when you talk about the Second Amendment." Hey, they might be onto something. Where are all the people crying out for all those being hit by one mass information after another? I hear that kids are even bringing books to school now. And did you know that there is a place where you can get books of all shapes and sizes without a background check? It's sickening. But let's go on with this premise, okay? Let's compare books and the press to guns. A loaded book can be dangerous, right? We better ban some of these if they're that dangerous. Oh wait, they do try. 2012, Brentwood, Missouri, there was a challenge to ban a children's book called Uncle Bobby's Wedding because it was a story of a young guinea pig and her beloved uncle who was going to marry his male partner. Damn. Guinea pigs can't even be happy now. Or how about in 2015, a town in Idaho wanted to ban John Steinbeck's classic Of Mice and Men because the story of two migrant ranch hands struggling during the Great Depression was too negative. Because we all know about the roaring and joyous party that the damn Great Depression was. It's even in the name, if you forget the depression part. In 2010, Culpeper County, Virginia tried to ban Anne Frank, Diary of a Young Girl. Anne friggin' Frank. Because it was one of the most endearing symbols of the atrocities of the Nazi regime. Oh, and they also thought it was too sexual, because nothing is steamy like a young girl stuck in an attic with her family hiding from Nazis. That's not even taking into account the books that have been flat out banned from classrooms and libraries, including To Kill a Mockingbird, The Catcher in the Rye, and James Joyce's Ulysses. If guns had the legislation and lobbying against them like books did, the only thing you'd be able to own is a frickin' cap gun. All your argument does is make you even look dumber. And that's saying something, because the next story is just super dumb. Everyone has come out to condemn former Hollywood bigwig Harvey Weinstein after it broke that he has a history of disgusting sexual harassment going back decades. Finally, this piece of human garbage is getting his comeuppance, as he's been fired and his reputation's in ruins after actress shares their story. But when the news breaks on these types of stories, the media tends to try to find an expert, and who better to speak about what sexual harassment is than President Donald Trump. Trump told the press, quote, "I've known Harvey Weinstein for a long time. I'm not all surprised to see it." The hell does that mean, sir? Does that mean you're like one of the many that knew about his behavior and did nothing? Or did he give you tips? Because rightly so, the reporter asked the commander-in-chief about his Access Hollywood grab them by the, admission, which he completely failed to comprehend as the same damn thing and said that it was locker room talk. You can't just make up a name for something and invalidate it. I know you think you can, calling things like facts that you lie about or criticism of your work as fake news, calling your own admission of sexual harassment and sexual assault as locker room talk, and calling that massive crap you've taken on the United States as being president, but that's not how society works. It might be sooner rather than later, maybe in 3 years and change, but you'll get your comeuppance for being just the douchiest douche that's ever douched the most must-douche of all douche holes. Oh, sorry. Being Donald J. Trump. From one douche to another, and former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbot is in the news for claiming that climate change might even be beneficial and called climate science absolute crap. Jesus Christ. It's like the US said that we have the dumbest political leaders, and Australia was like, mate, hold me beer. Tony Abbot, who isn't a scientist and is against climate change, against marriage equality even though it hurts his lesbian sister and his supporting daughter who just wants to see her aunt marry her longtime partner, what does he believe in? Well, he believes he looks great in a pair of dick togs. Of course, every big claim is going to have a detractor. As Professor Roger Jones, a professorial research fellow at the Victorian Institute for Strategic Economic Studies at Victoria University and research leader at Bushfire and National Hazards CRC, and obviously an owner of a 10-meter wide business card, said that Abbott's statements show that Abbott is clearly quite unhinged from reality. He also added, after dropping some scientific bombs, that Abbott's arguments hold less substance than his Speedos. Ouch. Maybe on a cold day, shrinkage. Get some of that climate change on your junk? That's all the time we have for this episode. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below of any of the stories that I covered today, or maybe some stories that I need to cover. Be sure to like and subscribe. Or don't. I'm not your real dad. And we'll see you next time as the world plunges into even crazier times. Sweet dreams, kiddies.
No! Stop thinking for yourself.